Hello everybody, Denay here, and thank you for dropping by my test kitchen. And I wanted to share with you one of the easiest desserts I have ever made. And I learned to make this dessert early in life. It's simple, it's quick, and it is delicious. It's a simple apple crumb. Oh, before I forget, the recipe is below the video. And it starts with just dropping in some butter and some flour and making my roux. I love roux because I'm going to tell you what they do. They're great thickeners. They're better than arrowroot or anything else. A properly made roux can take your recipe to the next level. And when you drop that butter and that flour in, as you see, I'm just stirring and stirring. I have this on a medium heat, and you can lower it if you're a little afraid of making that roux until you get really good at it. But you should see the little bubbles forming, and you just keep stirring and cooking. And let me tell you, you're doing that because you want to cook out the raw taste of the flour. There's nothing worse than, having that flavor, that raw flavor of flour in any dish. And trust me, if you've never had it, great. But if you have, you know what I'm talking about. And you see, I've made it until it turns blonde. Now I'm adding my sugars, and I'm adding both white and light brown sugar. And I didn't put all of the sugars in there because this is going to be the sauce that's going to coat my apples. And now I'm working that in with my roux, and I'm trying to get every single granulated kernel of that sugar, both of them, covered with the roux, because that's going to give me a nice silky sauce, and you're going to see that in just a moment. And you can use dark brown sugar if you like, but it's a little too harsh for me. Now I'm adding my apples, and I'm adding all of the apples at one time. And you don't have to do that. You can add, a third of the apples and let them soak up that sugar, then add another third and continue, and then the final third. Or you can do half and half. It's whatever you like. But let me share with you, if you add them a little bit at a time, remember they're cooking at different times. So some of the apples will be more cooked than others. And the final batch that you put in there could be a little crisp. You'll notice that I added a little water because I wanted to really get that sauce working with the apples. And I'm going to keep adding it and keep adding it. And in my water, I put a little bit of lemon juice. And I did that because I don't want any of my apples turning brown. Now I added the rest of the water, the lemon water I call it, and I'm just going to let those apples stew, sort of cook in those juices. And remember, apples are filled with a lot of water, so they're going to release their own juice. After you have cooked and cooked and cooked your apples, I tasted the apple mixture, and it was still not as sweet as I wanted it. And it's not so much the apples I want sweet, but the sauce that they're going to bake in, because we're going to put this in the oven. And so I put in the rest of the sugar, and boy, look at that. You know what that was? A little tiny piece of a brown sugar that was caramelized. And I don't want anybody biting down on that. But I tell you, look at those apples. Look at that sauce. Now I'm adding about a teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you don't like cinnamon, leave it out. It's optional. I happen to love the way cinnamon and apples taste, so I added it. What did the cinnamon do? It darkened our sauce. It made it even more rich looking. Now, this is my secret weapon. You know I'm a boozy baker. This is Crown Royal Regal Apple Whiskey. This is not an endorsement. Absolutely not. I found this at the liquor store before the holidays, and I picked it up, and I thought about apple crumb, apple whiskey. Let's see. I only put in about, I guess it was about a tablespoon. The alcohol cooks off, but I'm going to tell you right now, later on, I put in another, you didn't see it, but I put in another tablespoon. Alcohol cooks off. This is an adult dessert. If you want the kids to have it, leave off the booze. Okay? And then we're going to butter an 8x8-inch pan. And I'm using this particular glass pan. And I love this because I love to watch the apples cook and caramelize. And I'm getting every single little bit. And you're going to think, wow, that's really not a lot of sauce. But remember, those apples have a lot of water in them. And so right now I'm going to spread it around, but look at that sauce. The color on it is just amazing. Now we're going to put our crumb topping on. And you may use a little crumb topping or a lot. Let me stop. This recipe doubles beautifully. So if you need to make a 9x13-inch pan of this dessert, you absolutely can. And trust me, you may need it because people are going to love this apple crumb. And it's very simple. You've got everything that you need probably already in your pantry. And I don't put the crumb on really, really heavy, but some people do. They make a triple recipe because they like a lot of crumb topping on their apple crumb. And if you guys want me to show you how to make the apple crumb, let me know in the comments below. This is the final result. Okay, yes, you said it. Look at the caramelization of that sauce. Trust me, you're going to serve this warm and even have maybe some vanilla bean ice cream on top. Listen, guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll see you in my next video.